Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
The Philadelphia 76ers handled their business against the Atlanta Hawks at home on a Monday night, beating them by a score of 129 to 112. The Sixers now move to 36-22 on the season and now sit at 27-2 at home, the league's best home record. Now, you can say that this was a great game, that Joel Embiid went absolutely nuts. That is all true. You know, the guys were motivated at points in this game. There was a lot of ups and downs throughout this game, but overall, I don't think I'm going to get as crazed as the normal Joel Embiid supporter or, you know, some of you fans might get. I know a lot of people are probably out there right now happy that Joe went absolutely nuts, and it's true. He did. He deserves a lot of credit tonight. There were points in this game, guys were moving around, you know, guys looked intrigued. But then there were other points where, you know, we kind of lost that momentum, as we seem to do, right? It wouldn't be a Sixers game without them making it interesting, right? Apparently. So, to start off this game, I see the Sixers come out fierce, ready to go, just, you know, absolutely just heading forward. Not looking back at all. The Sixers were ready to go from the gate. They come out firing on all cylinders. Joe starts 4 for 4 from the field. Actually, before we say that, you know, applaud to Brett Brown. He never changes, right? I don't understand why he's still coming out and starting Joe and Al Horford together. Why does he continue to play them together? Someone told me last game in the comments saying that, you know, it was to stop Giannis. Well, what about now? Did he put them two in to stop Trae Young? Is that what he did? Explain to me, all right? But, you know, I'm just not going to understand that at all. But anyway, we come out firing on all cylinders. Joe's hot from the field. I see Shake Milton in there making plays. He's starting tonight. Obviously, Ben Simmons is out. We will talk about that in a few minutes. You know, guys are just firing, and, you know, they're just ready, and they're just playing hard. The Sixers come out, and they shoot 68% in the first quarter. We put up 41 points in the first quarter. 41. Okay? And in the second quarter, right, we just keep going. We have the momentum. The Hawks are closing it in just a little bit. You know, but guys are still moving around. Guys are energized. I even saw Al Horford, and this is legit. Like, I thought I was dreaming for a second, but I saw Al Horford in the second quarter get off the ground and make a block. And it wasn't just a normal block. The guy was driving in, I think, for a layup or a floater or something, and Al completely stuffed him. Al Horford, this is, right? The guy that, you know, hasn't looked like he can play a lick of defense, looks old, aged. You know, age is getting to him in his body. This guy, he got off the ground. I saw Joel Embiid in the first quarter, you know, hyping up the crowd. You know, he's all into it, right? He goes and he blocks the crap out of, who was it? Was it John Collins? Let me know down below. I forget who it was, but it might have been Deadman. It might have been Deadman. Whoever was talking smack to Joe, he came out and blocked him, and Joe was completely eating these guys up, as he should. I mean, Dwayne Dedman, Bruno Fernando. I mean, he should be eating these guys for lunch. I mean, and he was. He took care of his business, right? Joe had an amazing game, if you look at the stat sheet. We had a good first half. Going into the third quarter is when the Sixers do what they do best, and that is when the other team adjusts. Like I said, Brett never readjusts. Sixers come out doing the same old thing in the third, and they even get lazier. They just look like they don't want to play. Guys are posting up in the corner, just sitting there minding their own business. I mean, guys like, even like Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris was doubtful yesterday. I didn't think he was going to play tonight, especially against the 17-win Hawks. But Tobias comes out and he looks good. He's hitting the shots. The problem I have with Tobias is that, you know, when he's on, like tonight was one of them nights. Usually at home he has them where he's on. You can just tell he's really not going to miss that much. But it's like he's not assertive enough. He needs to call for the ball and say, yo, I'm going to take over these next 3 or 4 minutes, you know? Tobias has to take over sometimes. He has the capabilities. He's been inconsistent. I think people put too much of the blame on him sometimes, saying that, you know, he doesn't deserve this. Obviously, we had to pay the premium to keep him, but Tobias, some nights when he's on, he can hit, man. And he can create his own shot. And on those nights, I need to see more urgency. I need to say, yo, Joe, give me the ball. They're starting to double team you. They're going to adjust. Give me the ball. I will make something happen. But Tobias did well tonight. He hit his shots. But in the third quarter, man, things just flipped. The Hawks come out energized. The Sixers just look completely lost, as they always do. And the Hawks storm back. Forget the 41 points in the first quarter. The Hawks just look sharp. They look like they're going to take it right back from the Sixers, and that's what they do. Going through the third quarter, man, keep in mind the Sixers at halftime were just completely blowing out the Hawks in every statistical category, all right? At halftime, the Sixers were shooting 50%. Well, the Hawks were shooting 50. I'm sorry, the Sixers were shooting 55%. The Hawks were only shooting 50. But from three-point, the Sixers were shooting over 41%. The Hawks only at 22. And they were inching their way back in the game. And when Trae Young started to heat up, he had an okay night. If you look at the box score, you'll think, okay, he was all right. But to me, Trae Young didn't do the things that Trae Young is accustomed to doing. He didn't have one of those, spectacular kind of moment type of nights, He would hit a shot here, and he started to heat up throughout the game. And in the third quarter, he started to hit some shots. They were moving the ball. The Sixers moved the ball well in the first, but the Hawks started to gain that momentum, and they just kept running with it. The third quarter pissed me off because it was that one quarter, all the Sixers fans start to feel it. I'm looking at Twitter, man, everyone's enraged. Because how do you blow a 21-point lead in the third quarter? Like I've been saying, things like this can't happen when you play the good teams, when you're in the playoffs, in a crunch time. We'll let it go. Like I said, everything gets let go when the Sixers win. Brett Brown is an amazing coach when the Sixers win to some of the fans out there. No one gets any blame. But to me, breaking down the game, you have to look at these things. Things like this cannot happen because if that's the Boston Celtics or Toronto or the Lakers, say in the playoffs or, wherever, they're not going to give the lead back. Obviously, we're playing the Hawks. They have a lot of good young talent, but they're not as developed as, some of these more professional teams as of right now. Trae Young, I think he's going to be great. All them boys there. They're young, but that's the point. They're young. But anyway, they come storming back with that energy, and by the end of the third quarter, Trae Young hits an impossible three-point shot after going through three people. It almost looked like he floated it up one hand. Almost looked like that, honestly, but even he was smiling after that. The Hawks retake the lead at the end of the third, and I'm just sitting there in shock. I'm like, is this really going to happen again? The Hawks always give us a tough time for some reason. I think the Hawks outscored us 40-22 in the third quarter, and that just can't happen against teams like the Hawks. I know you're down Ben Simmons. You're down a great defender, a great guy that can put the ball on the floor and be a force driving to the basket. But the Hawks started to adjust to Joe, and, we kind of went cold in the third. But in the fourth quarter, the Sixers turned it back around. They outscore the Hawks 38-20. Joel Embiid just went absolutely nuts. He broke his career high of 46 before. 46 was his career high. They said he had 7 games before over 40 points. Joe just went absolutely nuts. The last 5-6 minutes, honestly, most of this game, Brett, I didn't see anything crazy from him. I just saw Joel Embiid. What I need to see from him is getting down in the post every single time when you have a mismatch, or honestly just on every night. Joe, there's not many guys in this league, I've said, that can stop him. There are not many guys that can contend him one-on-one. So he needs to get down in the post like he did tonight and just keep going. Just keep showing me that energy. Stay tough. And Joe just went absolutely nuts. Went crazy, ended with 49 points. And, he capped it off with a crazy 3 for his career high. That was ridiculous that a big man is able to do that. His defensive presence was there most of the night. There's still times in this game I saw Joe a little lazy, maybe tired, but it was more of the team that went down and up together. And I just can't see that from a playoff team. But overall, Joe, again, carried us to this win at the end. Other guys were involved, not as much as I would like them to be. But, we put it together at the end. And it was I would say, I guess it's a good win. A lot of people will be more excited about it than me. But I was just sitting there even keel the whole game. It's just this is my problem. We come off 4 wins straight. We beat the 25-win Brooklyn Nets, and Embiid's like, I'm the greatest player in the world. And then we go and play Milwaukee on the road. I know you're down Ben Simmons, all right? I know it's a tough environment. I know it's hard to stop Giannis and all them shooters. But you go 5 for 18. I'm not saying it was Joe's fault, but you go 5 for 18, putting up 17 points. And where were you after that game? Where? Like, this is my, like, you can't be doing that, Joe. You can't. It's great that tonight you went for 49. Let's go look at the stats, man. Let's go look at the stats. How many rebounds? 14. 49, 14, and 3. It was great, Joe. But I need to see this every night. I need to see this against the elite talent, the great players. I'm not too overhyped about this win. This was the Atlanta Hawks. 17 wins. And at some point in this game, it really looked like they were going to take it back from us and make this a nail-biter at the end. That's just my opinion. That cannot happen. Tobias had a great night, 25. Richardson, 13. Shake and Al, 7 apiece. Off the bench, Korkmaz, he has a nice pump fake, man. I'll tell you that. Kork can spot up from 3 and hit one when we need to, when he's on. 15 from Kork. I mean, the rest of the guys, it was just okay. I will say I did like Brett's 9-man rotation, and I'll give him credit for that. I saw guys, really getting a chance to get in that groove. Al playing 31, Tobias 35, Embiid 36, Richardson 39. I liked how guys got in their groove. Furkan 31 minutes off the bench. One thing I will say that really stands out to me, and this is important, me personally, I view plus minus as one of the most important categories in basketball, because it's like, how can you impact your team? I feel like a lot of people sometimes get caught up on the numbers and just an individual player's box score. But plus minus shows how you're making an impact when you're on the court. Because you can be doing things that don't show up in the box score. You can be setting good screens, communicating, forcing guys into double teams. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't show up in most of the stats. But in the plus minus, I feel like it really gives a good glimpse. And tonight, all of the Atlanta Hawks starters were in the minus, right? Yep, all in the minus. And all the Sixers starters were in the plus. And that makes me feel good. Al had like a minus 20-something or minus 30, I think, last game. And, this game he goes for plus 19. Tobias a plus 21. Embiid plus 19. Shake Milton a plus 21. Richardson a plus 9. Alec Burks was a minus 12 off the bench. That was the worst. I mean, he did okay. 3 for 5. 16 minutes. I'd like to see him a little bit more than that. But, we'll let it settle. But overall, I think, the Sixers were just going about their business, honestly. They were really hyped coming out of the gate. I don't know why. Once again, I guess we'll have to talk about this, but it just doesn't make sense to me why they go on the road and they look like a lost team. They look like a 10th seed in the Eastern Conference on the road. They look like they don't know how to play basketball. They're looking for Brett Brown and he's nowhere to be found. They're left on an island. But when they come home, Philly's a great place to play. Philly sports are bred into us. That's why the fans are so passionate. If you know, you know. But, you can't be playing like this at home, all energized and beat hyping the crowd up, doing his dances, whatever. But on the road, you look like a complete opposite team. That cannot happen from a playoff team. I'm not too hyped about this win. Sure, it was a good win. Embiid went crazy. 49, you got to love to see it, but got to be more consistent, in my opinion. Trae Young, 28 points, a quiet 28. I mean, he didn't do anything spectacular tonight. John Collins had 21. I thought, he was pretty consistent on both sides of the floor, but Joel just ate them boys alive inside. DeAndre Hunter had 22. Overall, the Hawks, they're not a sound team. They didn't do too much well in this game. If we go to the team stats, looking at the end of the game, honestly, I talked about the stats earlier at halftime. The gap kind of closed, obviously, with the Hawks' third quarter, but the Sixers shot 51% from the field tonight. That's amazing. That's what I want to see. I want it over 50% every single night. Hawks only shot 41% from the field. From three-point, the Sixers shot 40%. That's great. We have these kind of nights at home where we really don't miss a lot of threes. And the Hawks only shot 21%. I think they were shooting 22% from 3 at halftime. They only shot 21% from 3. in my opinion, like that is that's a 20% difference. Like, it should not have been that close going into the fourth quarter, in my opinion. Free throws, I mean, the Sixers outdid the Hawks in every category, in free throws, in rebounds, in assists, steals, blocks. We had less turnovers, only 12 turnovers. This team's been a lot better in terms of turnovers. And, they just hustled tonight more at points when they wanted to. Like I said, I think Joe was like 14 for 15 from the line. He missed his last one. I want him to go 15 for 15. But, the free throws matter, as you can see. As you can see, we win this game by 17 points, and he makes 15 or 14 free throws. That's a big difference. Overall, the Sixers played a sound game, but, I want to see this going forward. I want to see this against the better competition. We got the Knicks and the Cavs coming up. Games where I don't know. I mean, I hope we would win those games and not make them close like we had before. Then after that, we go and play the Lakers and the Clippers. So those will be two big games that I really want to see what happens. Tobias Harris, hopefully he's okay and doesn't aggravate that injury. Ben Simmons, we saw that he's going. They said it wasn't a day-to-day injury and that he's going to be out probably some significant time. We're waiting for the report. I do think it's going to be a major injury, just my opinion, and I'm scared about that. And if he is, like I said in my last video, this team is screwed. Honestly, we are screwed. I'll wait till the news comes out to talk about that more. But hopefully Ben Simmons is okay somehow. Joel Embiid was grabbing his back tonight. Again, the one where he took the hit against Giannis in the other game. He kind of got hit again. I hope he's all right. I just feel like things were coming crashing down. And I'm still not too confident looking, towards the future. But I don't know. All you can do is hope, right? But overall, man, great game for Joe. 17 for 24 from the field. Like I said, 49 points. He led the team. But let's just remember, let's stay humble, man. This was the Atlanta Hawks. I want to see this on a consistent basis. And, yeah, man, don't get too hyped about this one. It was again at home where we are the strongest against the Atlanta Hawks. I'm glad I didn't see any of Raul Neto or Mike Scott or Kyle O'Quinn. So you get credit for that, Brett. But overall, didn't have to do much tonight. Sixers take this one. Let me know down below what you thought about tonight's game and for the future going forward and in terms of Ben Simmons' injury. Let me know everything down below. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for stopping by. And I'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace.
Perfect.